Bonjour, salut, what's good, my dudes? Welcome back to League of Europe Formula 2. We are here for the fifth round of the championship, here for the Monaco Grand Prix, probably the one that these drivers have all been dreading. Of course, you guys know the format then. We're going to have a one-shot qualifying, two 50% races, first a feature race, then a shorter sprint race that we're going to get into. And of course, here as we get into the now the halfway stage of the season, actually, this round is going to mark. So it's going to be very, very exciting to see what twists and turns the championship takes, and to run you through the action here tonight. It is, of course, as usual, Daniel Hoggard leading the way, and alongside me in the commentary box, it's James Head. James, how you doing, man?
I think the only thing people will be dreading is that introduction, if I've got to be honest, to the stream. That was absolutely terrible. But anyways, we'll gloss over that. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on that one. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Welcome, of course, to Monaco, round 5 of the championship here in the F2 for League of Europe, and it's going to be a fascinating night of action. Toxic, of course, leading the way out on track. Two second places, in fact. No. Two third places to his name out on track. I don't know why I'm looking at the graphics the wrong way, but Toxic leading on 148 points, but look at the gap for second, third and fourth, separated by 2 points coming into this, Larkin, Verstappen and Rocco being those guys out on track. And of course Rocco took the race win last time out, and I don't think we've recovered from that move last week.
No, I don't think that we will ever recover. That was something that I am going to remember and cherish for an awful long time. Of course, so Rocco has put himself right in the thick. He's had a great season, actually, so far as Rocco. He's in front of XL Lando, who, of course, Lando, who was absent last round. He actually slept in through it. I don't know how he managed that at 7 p.m, but he still did it anyway. So Lando wasn't here last week, and he's got a lot of room to try and recover now. He was pushing Toxic to an extent in the championship, was definitely his closest competitor throughout that, and now he's got an awful lot of work to do, because Toxic now holds a pretty sizable margin. 60 points is the gap between them, and Toxic as a whole just seems to be running clear at the front of the field. Do you see anyone stopping him? But I think that this track could pose a bit of trouble for him tonight, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
I think it's going to pose a bit of trouble for everyone, I think, out on track, to be honest. Toxic, of course, leading by 32 points coming into tonight, of course. No, that's 42 points. My math is wrong there. Toxic leading the way by 42 points coming into tonight. Larkin there in second, of course. But looking at the consistency of the four drivers at the top of the standings, actually, we had Toxic finish third twice last week. Larkin was very consistent, finished second in the sprint race. Verstappen won the feature race, and then Rocco won the sprint race as well. So those four drivers have been very consistent. If they can continue that form up, watch out. But one man I would like to put my attention on is Matthias. I think Matthias has got a very good chance around here tonight, if and only if he can keep it out the walls. Knowing Matthias, looking at that run of seconds that he had a week ago, and in the feature race last week, and in the sprint race before that, looking at his form, it's beginning to pick up. He could come up the standings after tonight.
Yeah, certainly. Of course, had a pretty rocky start to the season, but has really picked up. And of course, a rather unfortunate sprint race kind of put paid to that run of form. But we'll see if he can snap back into it here tonight. Other drivers you got to look out for. QVR Campbell, I think, is another name I'm putting forward. We begged him up ahead of last week's round. It didn't exactly go to plan. But let's not forget, this man has a LOE F1 Division 1 victory around Monaco. You cannot write that off. The guy has credentials around this track, and since he's had a pretty miserable season ever since that first race, he's really got to try and pick himself back up here. While his teammate runs away at the front, well, I think he's at the pace to run with him. He's just not been able to put the consistency together. But James, now we are ready up for qualifying, and I think, as is always the case with Monaco, it's going to be a massively important qualifying session. Not only is it almost impossible to overtake cleanly around here, but if you're in that mid-pack, you can get caught up in incidents, so being up the front of the grid is incredibly beneficial here at Monaco.
This is the most key qualifying session, honestly, of the season so far. You have got to get a lap around Monaco right. If you don't, you're either ending up in the barrier, or you're also ending up in the wall, or completely spinning around out on track and validating your laps. So it's going to be fascinating to see. We've got Sofian, of course, he's a brand new driver in the league. He is a reserve for League of Europe F2 Division 1. And he'll be hoping to try and make some sort of impact, of course. Frenchman in Monaco, just travelling over the border, I should say. But it's going to be fascinating to see. We have got nighttime conditions, and I'm glad to report it's not raining, which I'm very happy with.
Yeah, I think the drivers will be as well very pleased that has gone their way, so we can get these guys pushing to the absolute limit here in qualifying here today. And we'll see, of course, these guys, if you keep out the barriers, you should be on for a decent qualifying position here. So these drivers going to be pushed to their absolute limits, trying to find their way around this Monaco Grand Prix circuit. So we're just waiting for the last few drivers to ready up, and we can kick this evening off. Just waiting for Zoudema, in fact, to get going. And here we are. We're going to watch QVR Chill heading around in the high-tech. Comes over the line. Let's see what he has on store for us here today. Going into Saint-Devote. Very cautious on that entry. It's best to keep it out the wall, so then you get on the traction nicely. Going up the hill now. Going now, lining up at the going up Beau Rivage and now into Massady then. Try and hug the inside line if you can. Then swinging right into Casino. He runs a little bit wide then. Dropping down some places and now going into that middle section. This lap comes at you thick and fast. You head through Maribor now, nice and cleanly. Then you're straight on the brakes for the slowest corner on the entire F1 calendar. There at the Lowe's hairpin, otherwise known as the Grand Hotel hairpin. Now you gear it up for Portier then, past the harbour, tried, plant the throttle on exit, and then you're away yet again, and heading through the tunnel then. It's a gradual right-hander, and then as you go over the crest, you want to be braking because you have then the Nouvelle chicane as you try to hop over the curb then, try not to run too wide into the wall as Shell comes incredibly close to making contact. Now into the brilliant high-speed to back corner, getting right up against the walls of the entry and the exit. Now maximum commitment is needed, going through the swimming pool section of the track, powering through on the exit, and now braking left and then right into Razcast. Chill turning in very early then, going up against the wall slightly. Now to Anthony Dogs, the final corner on the lap. You power out of it over the DRS, and pole position is going to go to QVR Campbell. Wow. A stalking lap to go up the front. Lando alongside him on the front row trying to make his championship recovery. But James, we picked up Campbell as a contender for this track, and he has shown that then. Pole position, can he convert that in the race though?
Master of Monaco, perhaps, from Campbell. He takes 4 points coming into, of course, that one-track qualifying ending. Campbell on top, Lando in second. But can we just talk about the 1 second gap between Lando and Verstappen, second down to third? That is an absolute unreal lap time from both Campbell and Lando in second. Verstappen third, Sweet Cranford, Zoudema in fifth, Noon in sixth, Josh in seventh, Gary on his debut in eighth, with Toxic in ninth and Rocco rounding off the top 10. Miami, Nolan, Matthias, who hit the wall at the Nouvelle chicane, in 13th, with Chill in 14th, Lark in 15th, Hardy in 16th, Dylan in 17th, Sofian down in 18th, Tincam the only invalidation out on track. I felt so sorry for Matthias, actually. He lost it coming on the exit into the Nouvelle chicane and almost half spun around, and that's why he lost about 2 seconds of that, and he really was up at the vanguard just before that.
Yes, certainly, and that is going to bring qualifying to an end. That we have certainly seen, though, a bit of a different grid to what we'd usually see. Of course, Campbell and Lando are no stranger to the front of the grid, neither is Verstappen, but I think those two Carlins, who have had struggling seasons so far, getting themselves into the top 6, they have a good chance to build off, particularly Zoudema, who I think has really not had much success. He had a decent enough round in Singapore, and he's really shining on these more technical circuits then, the bigger challenges for the drivers, where it requires much different driving style, much different setup, and just much more focus and precision than any other racetrack. Monaco, this is probably going to be a highly unique race. It could either end up being a complete procession or absolute mayhem out on the track. I wonder which one we're going to get though. But you certainly have to say, as you mentioned in qualifying, Campbell and Lando were in a complete league of their own, and we saw that mixed up grid. Toxic, I believe, was down in 9th place, so there's an opportunity here for that championship lead to come down, and especially as I think that Lando and Campbell are two drivers in particular that have not exactly made the most of their seasons. They've got a great opportunity on the front row here. Can they convert it though in this 21 lap affair?
And it's very, very interesting to see off the front row of the grid as well. Both of them are on different tyres. Campbell's on a set of softs, going to try and go later on in the race. Lando will try and get the start, running down in towards Sandoval. He's on a set of supers. Looking further down the field as well, Verstappen in third. He's on a set of soft compound tyres. Nolan, Matthias, Chill, Dylan and Sophia and out of the top 10 are on a set of soft compound tyres. Everyone else, of course, on a set of super soft compound tyres. But Campbell out on top, Lando second, Verstappen in third. In a bit of a QVR sandwich there, the XL man. It's very typical, I think, you can see an XL driver in a bit of a QVR sandwich here in League of Europe. But Campbell out on top. Can he convert that to a win? I'd be really, really surprised if he's not leading on the end of this first lap.
Well, of course, it's a very short run at the turn one, and after that, there's not really any opportunities for attack. One thing that he does have working against him, though, is the better grip that Lando's going to have coming off the line on those super soft tyres. Now, tyre degradation is pretty low around this circuit, so I don't imagine that alternate strategy is going to make too much of a difference in terms of keeping the tyres in check. But the grip coming off the line is going to be very, very interesting there. If Lando can get that start right, balance that throttle pedal well, as Campbell I think has had a few starts that haven't quite gone his way, it's not a sure thing he's going to be leading it. He's going to have that inside line though, he's going to have to use it. Campbell and Lando, that's a battle into turn one. We'll see if anyone can move forward from behind, but making up positions on this first lap without dropping it into someone is going to be very difficult. These drivers are going to have to be taking extra care, going particularly through Sandoval and up the first sector.
Yeah, it is going to be crucial. Toxic has just been disqualified from this formation up. We're now making our way through Raskas. And Campbell out on top, Lando second, Verstappen in third. Get the popcorn ready, get the cup of tea at the ready. Don't throw it at the TV screen though, because you won't see us and you won't see the action. Campbell, Lando, Verstappen out on top. I'm going to come to you, Dan. Who's your top three?
Why are you flipping the tables on me like this? I'm going to say, I can't bet against Campbell for the race victory, but I am going to say Verstappen will get second, and I'm gonna go with Zerma actually for third. Starting Beth, I assume he's gonna move forward. We'll see how that's gonna go. But Campbell has got some pressure on his shoulders then. He's still got an extremely outside bet at the championship. He needs to try and win this race. So does Lando, so does Verstappen, if they want to stay in this championship fight. But now, we are coming through now for the Monaco round of the championship. We have 5 lights. And we are away very quickly. Who's got the best start for the front of the grids? Great start by Lando. He's going to jump round the outside of Campbell. Campbell breaking late on the inside line. Virtuosi and Dabs going wheel to wheel out of turn one. Who's going to emerge in front here as they go up Beau Rivage? But Campbell has his nose in front. Inside lane into Massenet does not come through for Lando, and Campbell beautifully, brilliantly face back to the race lead as they now head into the second sector. Going into Mirabeau. You can see now as the graphics will sort themselves out now. I assume Campbell does hold the race lead, and it looks like it's been pretty steady up at the front then. Down further back though, we do have, I think that's Nolan has gone off, who's knocked off a bit of his front wing. We have yellows. Is that a safety car already then? Just debris flying everywhere at the moment. Safety car deployed, didn't even see any big accidents, but that full safety car has come out already. A manic start to this race yet again, but pretty calm at the front there. Campbell just about maintains the race lead.
Yeah, there was carnage in the background of the start. I think Nolan and Sofian got caught up in a bit of a contact or collision coming through turn one, and they've dropped right down to the back of the field, 18th and 19th. But Campbell got a tremendous start. I did say I'd be very surprised if he's not leading at the end of lap one, and lo and behold, he is going to be leading at the end of lap one. So that is a James Head prediction that has gone actually right here in Monaco. Can you believe it? I know. Campbell, though, out on top. Lando second, Verstappen in third. Looking at the position gains and position losses, top six have remained as they are. Toxic has gained 2, Dylan has gained 3, but has picked up a drive-through, if I'm not mistaken. Looking at the penalties, it's 3 seconds worth for Dylan. In fact, Chill, Hardy and Nolan have all got 5 seconds worth of penalties, and that was for severe collisions with drivers either in front or behind of them. But lap 2 out of 21 and under the safety car.
Yeah, these guys going to get onto the back of it pretty shortly. Of course, these guys, Hardy and Sophia both coming into the pit lane. This will not count as a mandatory pit stop, so they will have to come in again later on in the race. But at least, of course, they'll trade that for a fresh front wing. One person that's not opting for that is Autogear Nolan, who's still powering out there with a stricken car. I'm very surprised that he has not come into the pit lane. He rejoins the rear end of the field, but I would have taken some slightly fresher tyres and a fresh front wing over standing out there without a front wing. That's going to be very difficult to deal with around a street circuit like Monaco. But up at the front, though, things stay pretty calm. And Campbell this time has got an even better chance of retaining that race lead when we get back underway in the safety car, because he can control that, he can go where he wants, and he's not going to have Lando right alongside him this time. So he can just judge this like he wants, and if he can hold back Lando for even just a short amount of time, that opposite strategy is going to come back to work for him, because Lando on those super softs, he needs to get through. If he wants to win this feature race, as he's done on 2 occasions throughout this season, he needs to try and get Campbell very early on, otherwise the Univirtuoso is going to have a commanding position in this race.
Yeah, I think honestly the best chance to get him around in the first sector will be up towards turn 3 through Massenet and then through 4 Casino Square. That could be the opportunity. I have seen a move done there around the outside before, so don't be surprised if you see Lando trying to attempt that off the start. And in fact, I thought Lando was going to come into the pit lane there on the exit of Rascas. We're still into the safety car through Anthony Nilshares once again, and Campbell out on top from Lando in second. Looks to me as if Lando might be lagging slightly out on track. Verstappen third, Sweet Crown in fourth. Literally, if you're tuning in now, you haven't really missed a race, if I've got to be honest. Everyone under the safety car because of front wing damage, probably because of Nolan's stricken front wing, I would think, more than anything, and he still hasn't came into the pit lane down in 17th. I think he might be trying to go to the end of the race on that set of soft compounded tyres, or certainly towards the end of the race with a broken front wing, and then come into the pit.
Yeah, it still strikes me as a bit of a peculiar strategy though. Sofian and Hardy are going to catch the back of the field on this lap, I imagine, and we will get back to green flag racing then and there. Campbell will have an opportunity to control this, but the last sector on this track is actually quite short, so he's going to have to really time this right. He's not got that many options as to where he's going to go. We'll see when he goes for. I reckon maybe just coming into Raskas he might gun it, or is he just going to run it to the line? Who knows what QVR Campbell has up his sleeve for us here today, but as an expert of Monaco, as a specialist of this track, he surely knows what he's doing up there, and Lando is just going to have to try and react. But we know Lando has the pace to challenge Campbell. He was very close to him in qualifying, no one else really was, so I think without all else and without any outside interaction, I think those two will share the battle for the lead. Safety car right this lap, and Campbell now backing up the pack. When's he going to go, James? When is he going to try and put his foot down and stretch a gap in this race?
Exit of Anthony Nogez, he will go, and I think he'll try and get about a 5/10 lead running up in towards Sandoval at turn 1. It's going to be fascinating to see off the start.
Well, let's see, when's he going to apply that throttle then? We're heading into Anthony Nogez now, and Lando goes to the pit lane, and he can do that. Actually, can you do that on the safety car? I'm not exactly sure, but Chill getting a penalty there immediately for a collision with Dylan. Campbell is straight clear, and Lando went in early. So Lando has taken that punt. He must be, I'm assuming that's his mandatory pit stop served. So now he can try and go to the end. It has. Lando pulled the blinder. Is he going to get himself disqualified for this race? I'm not actually sure, but I do apologise for that. But, nevertheless, Campbell leads the way. Verstappen backing him up in second place. Behind it, he sees some swapping positions. Zerma's gone. Coming out of Casino. He's backwards on the run towards Mirabel. Oh, Zerma, another specialist of this track, has dropped it now. Going backwards, he's not moving, but suggests that it's maybe, he's just waiting for everyone to go past. Oh. He has the wall again. That's a rare mistake for Excel Zernova. It promotes Excel Noon to 4th and Toxic up to 5th. Toxic making a strong start in this race as he chases down the Carlin, heading towards the Nobel chicane. He's not going to go for the move here, obviously. He's got to be careful with that inside wall, not making contact. But Toxic, after a below par qualifying, he seems to have some good pace out there, and he's not out of reach for a podium. Sweet Crown's been promoted into that podium again, looking solid out there behind Campbell and Verstappen. But Noon's going to try and hold up Toxic. DRS will be active soon enough, but that's only really going to affect as Toxic does get very out of shape going through that swimming pool section. Noon's holding him back for now, but you suspect the Toxic will try and get a run eventually. Try and get through the Carlin before those top three begin to break away and secure those podium places for now.
Look at the gap that Campbell's got out in front, though. It's nearly 2 seconds coming up in towards Sandoval and now in towards Massenet for the 5th time out on track. Campbell leading 1.9 seconds out on track from Verstappen. Second, 3 Crown third, Noon in 4th. Toxic in 5th. We're about to go nearly side by side with the two teammates, the two Charu cars, in fact, Rocco and Matthias. Rocco, in fact, is in a different car, isn't he? Yeah, Matthias is in the Charu, Rocco's in the Trot. I do apologise, they look very similar on the left-hand side of my screen there. As now Matthias will look to try and get the run in towards the hairpin but not quite close enough. Somebody that is ahead, there was Nolan on Chill. Oh, and there's a massive bit of crash there in the background. Sofian has gone round, and Lando's on the back of this as well. And Lando's done very well not to get any damage there.
But now, that undercut is going to come back to bite it, because now he's getting held up by this entire pack of cars, and this is going to cost him dearly in this race then. So he's right behind Hardy, and Chile gets alongside Hardy. He's got a great run going through the tunnel, and Hardy just lets it go. And now he's got a great run on Chill. He runs into the back of him. Has he got damage as XL Lando?
Yes, he has.
As they go, he has got damage, and has been clogged by Chill, who hit the inside wall. Going through the chicane, he was not expecting Chill to back off then, who had pretty major wing damage. That's why we're seeing him backing up this entire pack as Toxic now comes in. But Lando, I think he just was not expecting Chill to back off there. It's an unusual place, but with damage, he had no other option. Hardy trying to get him alongside him, going in to Larascas. He holds up behind, and we're going to see where Toxic emerges then. Is he going to get out of traffic? Is he going to get out in clean air? He's going to drop the pit limiter now, and he looks pretty clear. As I see it though, Chill is going to go ahead as well. Hardy's going to take that short run though, going to the pit lane. Is he going to jump in front? They're going to go side by side. Chill allows him through. So Toxic, brilliant pit exit, jumps up into 14th place. He's got a few seconds to push into. He's not out of reach of a podium here, I'd say. If he can use those softs to good effect, he can chase through. And from 9th on the grid, again, Toxic making the most of his opportunities out on track as Hardy down the inside going into Riverboat. He runs away, but he'll get the move done, get it converted up into 15th place now for XL Hardy. As Chill's holding up Sofian now. Chill is stricken, holding everyone back. He's not allowing them through easily, but up at the front is the actually, I think we have Lando on the move again. Can he pass Dylan, who I think would have let him through, but up at the front, Campbell continuing to stretch the lead. 3.5 seconds, he's firmly in control of this race. It looks as though no one could stop. Keep this going. He could be able to get himself back in that championship fight.
Going to go down the inside and towards Raskas there on Rocco, but goodness me, he's all over the back of him. The Shrew against the Trident. Oh, and he gets a bit of snap of oversteer off the bump there. For absolute grim life out on track. It's just a matter of time, I think, that Matthias will try and seal the opportunity. Is he going to try it up the hill and towards Massenet at turn 3? I don't think he's going to be close enough. He will try and switch it to the inside though, and the Rocco really, really good in terms of defensive driving there. Came across, but Matthias is now going to get the superior run down in towards Mirabo. Can he get the move done? He dives it down the inside. Rocco's going to try and get the switch back, but Matthias is through, and he's into 8th position out on track. That is bold and brave and committed if I've ever seen it. Matthias gets up into 8th position.
Yeah, from 13th on the grid, he's having a great little race here, and he's got Miami right in front of him in his sights. So the soft tires already look to be coming into this race, and it's certainly paying dividends for these top two. Look at the margin. Campbell's got Verstappen, but also Verstappen on Sweet Crown. These two are blowing away the rest of the field as it stands and moving clear. But I suspect we're going to see pit stops now for the majority of the Super Soft runners. Sweet Crown now heading through Razcast in the MP. He also dives to the pit lane. So he is going to, I imagine, relinquish that podium. XL Noon stays out, will reclaim that podium place. Gary's in as well. Gary having a decent enough showing as well tonight, so far at least. But of course, here at Monaco, it can all change. I also just want to note, Toxic on the last lap, I think he made a mistake because he's dropped behind Hardy. Now he's right on him going into Razcast looking for that inside lane. It's covered off, and Hardy blocking him, covering off all angles. It's very easy to do so at Monaco. Toxic's going to find it difficult to get past. This is only DRS zone. It's coming down here. We have a busy pit lane emerging there. Toxic's going to jump in front of Gary, but critically, where's XL Noon? Noon is well in front. It's Matthias now with Miami. Go ahead to Mirabel, gets the move done. I didn't quite catch the most of that on camera, but Matthias getting through his chills now out the race, coming through Sandovon.
Yep, Sandovot, sadly, that is his downfall, and that's a VSC, I think, that's been deployed out on track as well. So Chill deploys the VSC for crashing into Sandovot at turn 1. He just went too deep. Matthias got that move done right at the death on Miami. Down the inside he went. Similar move to what we saw last lap, in fact, on Lando. And Matthias is through and he's into 5th position. Sorry, it was on Dylan, wasn't it? On Rocco even, who came into the pit lane on Matthias. But Matthias now through and he's up into 5th, and he's making his best of his way home. And more importantly, he's on a set of soft compounder tyres, so he can get towards the end of the race without having really much to do anything. Campbell leads onto lap 9, and I think we're about to go green any second now.
Yeah,
Not
you can
yet.
see. Yeah, we are. We are just yet, James. But interestingly, the super soft runners staying out and not claiming this opportunity to pit underneath the VSC. You can see further back. Then there's going to be a bit of a trade building up by XL Dylan, Nolan, Toxic, who did manage to get past Hardy, and now he's going to try and claim another place. As we have Dylan with a drive-through penalty, then, and he's going to have to serve that at some point in the next 3 laps. So Dylan's going off then into the pit lane behind us. Hardy is now. Nolan makes a mistake. Going through Anthony Noje and through goes Toxic back up in a 10th place. Trying to recover after an early mistake. Now runs inside the top 10. But how much further forward can he climb in this Monaco feature race? Gary behind Nolan as well. Looking for him. He gets straight through. Going up. Beau Rivage, he gets the move done as well. He's got fresher tyres and without a penalty, so he can try and get up onto the back of Toxic as well. Toxic down the inside, diving on Dylan. He's going to run out wide, but he'll convert it. Toxic on a charge at the moment, making the most of these tyres on Dylan, who had to slip back, had to get well out of that one. Gary's going to try and follow through. Gary looking better, I'd say, here. But he has basically any other point. Formula 2, he's going to try and get up alongside Dylan. Oversteer coming up a Portier, but Dylan is going to let him through. Give up that place. Dylan really struggling out there as it stands, and he has to drive through penalty, but a nightmare race for Dylan so far. But Gary goes through it. He's still chasing down Toxic, who has to pull out that gap. They're receiving pit stops now at the midpoint of this race. And goes Noon, and goes Josh, who's having a good race himself. And goes Miami as well. We'll see if these guys all emerge. They'll have some better tyres underneath, but Rocco's now in the race as well. Full course yellow, and is that a VSC or a safety car?
Safety car. Safety car out on track. He's crashed in the Val chicane, unfortunately. Just seen Zerderma running down. Oh, and he's gone straight on. He's gone straight on. Like Adrian Suthill sort of style. Charles Leclerc with that brake failure, and he's ended up side on in the barrier. That is absolutely unbelievable. But Campbell out on top for Staffen, second Matthias, third Lando, fourth, Sweet Crown in fifth, and a safety car has been deployed out on track for the second time this race. Getting the sense of deja vu from Belgium in Division 5, I think.
Let's not gloss over that one too much, but yeah, that has of course shaken up the order, and we will be seeing some drivers getting some pretty free pit stops. Let's see what the order is when they all come out. Dylan went in the last lap. He's got some super softs on now, so he's going to try and use that to his advantage with the field now bunched up. Of course, now drivers that don't have penalties, they're going to be gaining out of this as well. So in comes Campbell from the race lead. I suspect Verstappen is going to follow him in as well. So these guys taking this opportunity to pit from the front. Campbell, he's getting those tyres changed now. He should, I imagine, retain the race lead by pretty comfortable margin. He has held a little bit by Verstappen. Now he's on his way. Verstappen will come in there at the end of the pit lane as well. Getting that nice and stopped. Then Matthias has come in as well. Those guys that occupied those top 3 positions, they're going to have a great opportunity here underneath this safety car to get themselves right back into it. But look at this. Campbell way out in front. The field bunched up, his lead wiped out, but even so, he hasn't looked like losing this race so far. Lando does get back up into 3rd place as it stands, but with those older tyres and with, I believe, a bit of damage, yeah, definitely some damage on that car as well, he's going to struggle to stay there, and if he wants to keep his championship chances alive, he needs to do what Ayrton Senna did in 1982 by just keeping every lane covered and not allowing a way through. Matthias came out just behind Toxic. They were almost level going over the safety car restart line. I think there's a bit of confusion there, but Toxic has got that possession. Matthias will charge at him though, even nevertheless, with those super softs on. But now, James, order's been shaken up a bit, and we're going to see how this is going to unfold then. But Campbell has a good position. Verstappen, I imagine, will go with him. And those two, you sense that no one's going to be able to get near them. But Sweet Crown, with fresher tyres than Lando, no damage, I believe, on that car, and without a penalty, he's got a great chance of wrapping up a podium here. Sweet Crown has been, in my opinion, a driver that's really improved. So in the first couple of rounds, didn't look that great, but has came onto it, and at the moment, he's looking like a second podium. The season's in order here.
He could, and yeah, Lando, I think, has got a T-tray out on track, so it's going to be unfortunate, I think, but one thing that is guaranteed around this track is the lack of overtaking. Sweet Crown has got to try and get an overtake done on Lando, if you can even think about getting a top 3 out on track. Of course, Lando has got a penalty, 3 seconds is the worth. Currently, Noon and Toxic have picked up penalties. Dylan's, by the way, has picked up a drive-through. Not sure where he picked up that from, but Nolan and Zerderma have also picked up 5-second penalties, and they're stop goals. So they've got to try and serve that up. We're going to be out on under the safety car, I think, for the next few laps or so, I would imagine. Lap 12 out of 21 just starting, with 10 laps to go. If you're wondering where Ivor Bryn Mike, by the way, is, I think he has to go and put a penny in the meter because the stream, I don't think, is live for Division 2. There you are. We're getting more viewers tonight, Dan.
Lost, but yeah, we're just gonna have to wait, unfortunately, for a little while before we get proceedings back underway. By the way, just to mention, Dylan picked up his drive-through penalty at the end of the VSC period, where he just sped underneath it. So yeah, he's gonna have to come in and serve that at some point. Then he's had a nightmare race again here, and I think he's gonna struggle to get any significant points as it stands at the moment. The field will gradually bunch up. I don't think we'll race on this lap, but hopefully lap 13 we'll get this race back underway. And as it stands so far, Campbell and Verstappen at the front, and yeah, those two just haven't come under any pressure. And I think the sprint race is gonna put these guys to the test a bit more. But with Lando being the nearest competitor out on track, and he has got older tyres and wing damage, you said that Campbell and Verstappen pretty much have the front of this race to themselves. But so far, no evidence has been here to suggest that Verstappen has any real pace that challenged Campbell. He was over a second slower in qualifying. He's really not been on Campbell's pace. He's up for a solid second place, but I think Campbell looks almost untouchable here. Unless he makes a major error, this race is firmly in Campbell's hands.
Yep, Campbell, of course, master of Monaco, as I referred to him in qualifying by taking pole position. He's just proven why he is the master of Monaco out on track, and he'd be hoping that Verstappen can hold him up like Montana style and try and hold him up by about 20 seconds to get the win, like he did in Division 1 when I covered that race, of course, back in the day. But Campbell leads on to lap 13. We are going to get back underway, I think, next lap around. It is going to be interesting to see, though, if Dylan can actually make it round before the end of the safety car, because they're going up towards Sandoval now. He's on the opposite side of the track, running through to back at turn 12. He's got at least another 30 seconds to catch before he gets onto the safety car. They're not going that quick, if I've got to be honest, which is a positive. But Dylan, I'm holding out hope that he can join the end before the end of the safety car queue before it comes in.
Well, he is definitely pushing out there, so we'll see if he can try and get himself back towards it. I think the rest of the field is pretty safe. They will get onto the back of the safety car queue, led, of course, by the virtual Bert Mylander, and then by QVR Campbell, who tracks it in behind. And again, we'll make that judgment as to when he wants to go. And so he has Verstappen behind. Lando, who, of course, has called to try and undercut, hasn't worked as well as he hoped, and he now sits in that third position. Just getting caught in too much traffic has cost him in this race. I think Dylan, he's pretty safe as it stands. I think he will definitely get up towards it, as I think Sofian is backing up going through that tunnel for some reason. He'll then close up to the rear of the field, and hopefully we will get back to green flag. There we are, race control, safety car in this lap, and now Campbell slows it all down. When is he gonna put pedal to the floor and get this back going? Hopefully this will be the last safety car action we'll see in this race. Hopefully we get a straight sprint to the flag here in the Monaco feature race. Now heading into Razkas. He went just coming out of here last time out. He's holding back a little bit more this time, and now Rivati Noje releases it, and he releases it emphatically. Jumping clear, and he's already nearly taken away as Josh has gone off, going out the final corner. He spins it backwards, and having had such a solid race up to this point, Josh, he slams it into the wall again, and that's barely disappointing, as now Sweet Crowd predictably is hounding the rear wing of Lando going to the inside line. That is the power of downforce, and straight through Noon as well. Lando, even if being opening, he's gone completely. Clipped the wall of the casino, and Lando's gone disastrously wrong. He's going to have to wait for everyone else to go through. Oh, Lando, he had top two pace, but just a series of incidents in this race has cost him ever so dearly. And now, that is going to dramatically shake things up. How is the championship looking now? Lando, you said his chances are just slipping away here as it stands after that missed round. You said there's almost no way back from this. Too much ground to make up as it stands. And Toxic, having recovered to fifth, is in a good spot, but he's going to struggle to get Matthias. Even Gary behind is going to be a challenge for him to try and extend on. So we'll see what he can do on those aging tyres. I'm not sure we see behind it, James. I think Dylan with Nolan in the solid car spearing off to the wall. Lando again has gone off, and now coming out of the Nobel chicane, he is in front of Josh. Then both those guys have had disasters on this restart. Lando and Josh will probably both be in. Maybe try and claim some fastest laps, those guys. Up at the front, though, Campbell leads. Verstappen keeping him a little bit more on this time, but Campbell still leads. And as predicted, the two of them pulling well clear of the rest of the field as it stands.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds ahead. Verstappen is of Sweet Crown. Campbell is a second ahead, I should say, from Verstappen. Lando and Nolan into the pit along with Dylan. Josh now promoted to 14th. Luckily, he didn't pick up any damage, I should say, after that spin, but it's going to be fascinating to see. I'm watching Noon, who's trying to close in on Sweet Crown as well. Yeah, Toxic run wide and behind, and Toxic on 9-lap-old softs is coming back into this, but look at the freshness of Matthias's tyres. Matthias is now getting into contention. I did make a prediction that he would get on the top 3 in qualifying. Well, he didn't, and now he could get on top 3 in the race, which he actually could this time.
Yeah, he's right in the mix here. He's got some fresh tyres, but he does have 2 cars to get through before he gets those positions. And of course, as Lando gets another penalty, Zerma and 10 guy going side by side into Novell as Ali lunge from Zerma, getting the move done. Superb stuff. And Zerma on a recovery drive is somehow back in the top 10, but has a stop-go penalty to his name, so he is dropping back as it stands. But even so, I think this race a bit of a missed opportunity for Zerma. He could have very easily got a podium, I think, here. As DRS now enabled, overtaking will be slightly easier, but I don't think it's going to come straight to these drivers. But certainly Toxic is hounding Excel Noon. Hasn't got past quite yet going into Sanzavon, but the championship leader looks very, very quick here on the streets of Monaco, and he's chasing him down, going in to Mazepin to the inside, like it's pitched there by Excel Noon. He's now rounding outside into the casino, had to get out of that one, and he almost loses the rear end, just holds on to it. Toxic had a go, ever the feisty driver, ever willing to give it a go. This time didn't work out, but Noon's under pressure, and Sweet Crown now establishing a gap. He looks up for a podium if he can just keep it on the track, because Matthias is too far back, and Noon and Toxic are dropping back, have penalties as well. So as long as Sweet Crown keeps this together, he's up for a second podium as it stands, just having to keep it out of the walls.
Yeah, Toxic is now on the back, but Sweet Crown, yeah, doing a really good job out on track. The German finding off the attention of Noon. Noon is under pressure as well. And looking down, I thought he had damage there, did Noon, but he doesn't. Toxic in 5th, Matthias in 6th. It's now the run through to back once again for the 16th occasion out on track. It's Campbell who leads, pulling away by 1.5 seconds. He's clearly got pace over Verstappen, but if you Miami at this scenario, would be hoping, as Toxic goes into the back of Noon and clips the inside wall, coming through Raskas. And now Matthias is right on the back of this as well. These two are not are going to really fight down in towards Sandoval, but Campbell leads, Verstappen 2nd, Sweet Crown 3rd, Noon in 4th, Toxic in 5th, and then Matthias in 6th, and nobody can find a way through. Zerma on the back of Larkin, trying to get the move done, and Hardy trying to go around the outside of Tin Can in towards Sandoval as well. Not quite close enough. They remain as they are.
Yeah, of course, we're seeing classic Monaco here. It is almost impossible to overtake. The DRS of the Sandavon is going to be the driver's main opportunity as it stands. And of course, Toxic, he's not quite on the back of Noon there. I said, not only is he making a couple of mistakes now, but those tires are going to be starting to slip out from underneath him. And he's got to try and keep that car on the aisle and get it to the checkered flag. Even if he can't bridge that gap to Matthias, Gary is trying to hold on to his penalty range as Lando sets the fastest lap of the race to rescue something from this race as it stands. We're still just trying to keep updated. Maybe some dramas up ahead, but as Gary picks up a penalty, that's going to drop out of a window of still an outside chance of a top 5. Now looks highly unlikely for XO Gary, unfortunately. Then just that one mistake costing him dearly in a pack that's been bunched up by the safety car. But over the line, Campbell still leads. 2 seconds clear for Verstappen. These guys look like they're just cruising to the line right now. Doesn't look to be a huge amount of pressure on them again. Toxic trying to chase down Excel Noon, getting up towards him. He's got serious pace as Toxic, but can he convert that to a manoeuvre? As it turns out, not quite just yet. I think Lando's gone off yet again. My oh my, what a difficult race this has been. Look at Toxic though. He's right there with Noon and Matthias. Is there to take advantage? They power out of Casino, but again, just not close enough. Noon is doing everything he needs to do, getting good exits off the corners that he needs to punch away from, and Toxic can't get through. He's looking everywhere. He's got more pace in that car evidently, but he can't convert it to a move. And as it stands right now, he's got no chance of bridging that gap to Matthias behind if he's ball necked up behind Noon. Toxic does look like he's up for a top 5 as Lando's now out there. I think that's another VS. He got a full safety car deployed.
Full safety car deployed. Lando's crash coming through to back at turn 12. His race, bad to worse to even worse out on track, which is such a shame for Lando. He is out the race. But it is Campbell who leads. Are we going to see a little bit of a last-minute gasp to the line? Is everyone going to pit in for a set of super softs and come in? There's not much opportunity, to be honest, for this race to get back going. Surely we've only got another lap under the safety car, and then we'll be back to green flag racing with 2 laps to go.
This happened in LOE Division 3, I think, on Saturday, where there was a very late safety car, and they only got back racing on the last lap. Hopefully we at least get some degree of action before we cap off this race. It is going to bunch up the top 3, and so Campbell and Verstappen, we're going to have to watch a little bit further behind. It's going to benefit as well those drivers that don't have penalties. So XL Miami, who we've hardly mentioned in this race, has certainly gets his 2nd penalty for speeding in this race. Unbelievable. He's had just a mistake-ridden race, and that's going to be one to forget for XL Dillon, and he's going to need a miracle to get good points then going into that sprint race, where of course making overtaking is going to be much more difficult, I should say. But who's going to grab that reverse grid pole? As it stands, I think Gary is going to be on for it, and I don't expect much to change on this last lap, James. I expect that most of these guys are going to be pretty content to just hold formation, hold position, because if you try and go for a late move at Monaco, well, that could just end in tears for the pair of you. So I think these guys will probably be quite content, and it's really going to come down to track possession plus the penalties as to how the order is going to end up here.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, I think, to see. We should see the safety car, I think, coming in this lap, so it's going to be fascinating to see if anybody's going to try and make a move. But yeah, Miami currently in net reverse grid pole, essentially, out on track. But that'll go, of course, to Gary, who's got a 3-second time penalty. Barking it behind's got a 3-second time penalty as well. Safety car predictably in this lap. And Campbell now will back off the field. For the 3rd time, he's the virtual Burton Marlander out on track. I'll be hoping to try and go. He's gone a little bit earlier, I think, in terms of the pace. He's just trying to keep it up. He doesn't want to give Verstappen any chance of trying to get him off this start. But we're about to go back to green flag racing, and Campbell floors it and is already nearly a second clear as he comes out of Nancy Nochez for the penultimate time, or toward the penultimate lap. Campbell leads, Verstappen 2nd, Sweet Crown 3rd, Noon in 4th, Toxic in 5th, and Toxic trying to look at Noon down in towards turn 1, but not quite close enough. Oh, he gets caught on the inside curb, gives Matthias a little bit of a run up the hill on him, and can the Super Softs come in to go? And then Sweet Crown's under pressure from Noon, trying to go down the inside goes Noon, but Sweet Crown hangs on for 3rd.
Just about there, but XL Noon rally, he doesn't need that, so Sweet Crown, he doesn't have a penalty. Look at Toxic though, he's been harrying it, but look at how close this is, going throughout the middle sector of the lap, the slowest section of track on pretty much the entire Formula 1 calendar. But look again as they all they concertina up, and then they spread out on the exit of that Grand Hotel hairpin. It does allow Sweet Crown to punch away a little bit then. Toxic up against the wall at a Portier. He can at least try and grab one position out there to thrust himself forward, get as many points as he possibly can, but Noon has been every inch the equal of every attack that Toxic has thrown at him, and still Matthias on for gaining, still Miami on for being the beneficiary of this as well. We're now coming round with just over 1 lap to go. QVR Campbell leads. He has not put a foot wrong, despite the safety cars, despite having to put up with restarts. He has judged everything to perfection. Now he just needs to do that for 19 more corners for 2.1 miles, and he will secure that race victory then, a first one of the season and only a 2nd podium. Look at Toxic though, right at the death. Is he going to lunge it into Sandoval? No, he's not close enough. Does he get a good run though? Going up towards Massey then, he's going to tuck right in the slipstream through Beau Rivage. Sure, the inside line's going to be covered by Noon, but down the inside, Toxic late in the day makes contact with XL Noon. Now they're going to go level going into this casino. It's going to come out on top here. Toxic through. He pitches him against the wall, but he gets through critically. Now Toxic can try and pull away. He's got Noon. He can maybe try and get Miami. That was forceful with Toxic, but he's got the move done. He's got to try and bridge that gap now. There's not enough time for Noon to get back, surely. Toxic trying to get at least a P6, maybe even a P5 in this race. He's pushing hard to the front. Can he possibly make it work? He gets himself a point in Sweet Crown. Verstappen's made a mistake, and Sweet Crown is up in a 2nd place on the last lap. Verstappen, has he thrown away P2 in the position? He's been running it the whole way through. Sweet Crown now has sold it away right at the death. Is that going to change odds? I doubt it. QVR Campbell though, But just 2 laps of racing has pulled the
Toxic,
3.5 second. Is now Toxic looking for Verstappen. He's giving everything. Going into Rascas, but there's no room to dive it down the inside. Up in the front though. Campbell is away at God. He is going to win a brilliant feature race. And what a drive from Campbell. Sweet crowd snatching second place and Toxic on the back of Verstappen. Looking for a way through. Doesn't get it. Verstappen's dropped off the timings. Matthias is third provisionally. I think he'll get fourth in the end because Verstappen is glitched out for me. I'm not sure if it's for you as well, James.
Yeah.
Toxic did get that gap on Miami in the end, who does get in front of Newton in front of Gary. Ted Can Hardy, Larkin. And I think Larkin will actually be 11th in the end then. Sophia at 12, down about 13, and then Josh, Nolan and Dylan will round out the grid. Peculiar there for Verstappen and completely dropping off the face of the earth then. But Campbell wins, then put wrong, and Sweet Crowd surprising, they're ready to death. He took advantage of Verstappen's mistake and he has got a well-earned second place. That's going to push him well up the standings now.
It will indeed, and the German drove a fantastic race, I've got to say, out on track, but the man of the moment is Campbell, who took the win. The Univirtuosi coming out on top. Univirtuosi first and fifth, we think, because of Verstappen's glitch. It is on my end as well, but Campbell winning, Sweet Crown second, Matthias in third position. What does that do to the championship? Well, Toxic just keeps on extending that lead, doesn't he?
Yes, he will, and because his nearest rivals have ended up faltering.
Oh.
I'm not sure what exactly you've spotted there, James.
What's he doing? What's he doing?
Dylan.
What's he doing?
Oh my. Well, he's gonna cross the lane in the pit lane. Well, that's a rather strange sight, but I guess he had nothing more to gain or lose from that race, so he bows out then in a lowly 15th place for the feature race. We'll see if he can fight back in any regard. Matty 40 gets driver of the day. I think that's deserved, and it will in the end be a 4th place finish, so very well done there to Matthias, and he does give himself a good shot of propelling himself forward as well. Slowly but surely he's working his way back into this season, but certainly Campbell, who has had a testing season so far, results have not gone his way all the way through, but at a track he really does like, he has shone through it, winning in the end then. Podium occupied by Sweet Crown and by Verstappen then. Although it will not, I believe, show up as it stands then. Very, very odd. But that is going to be it for the first of your 2 races here tonight. Hopefully the results are going to load up for me, otherwise James will have to take it through it. No, we're good. Yeah. Campbell wins it from Sweet Crown in 2nd place. Matthias 3rd from Toxic, who I think will be relieved to get 4th place after an up and down race. Miami, quiet race, but does end up 5th place. That's what keeping out of trouble at Monaco can do. XL New in 6th place will be ruining that penalty, so will Gary 7th. Tin Can ends up 8th from Hardy, Larkin. I'm just reading through these positions as they appear, but just relegate them all by 1. Safina 11th on debut, Zarnama behind that, then it's Josh, then Nolan, Dylan, and the oddball that is Verstappen's result. Lando, Rocco and Chill didn't see the checkered flag. That's going to be it for the first race, and I think we have a much more exciting and probably chaotic sprint race to follow, James.
It is going to be quite chaotic. I think sprint races normally are quite chaotic, but around this track, I think it's going to be even more chaotic out on track, and it's going to be fascinating to see how this is all going to unfold out on track. And of course, with, I think, Gary starting on provisional pole position, if I'm not mistaken, for this reverse grid race. It's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on, of course, returning to the grid for the first time this season at least. And now we're just about 20 seconds away from starting. Really hope you're putting up with my voice as well. It is really, really struggling tonight. I feel absolutely awful. But I'm still here. I'm still alive at least.
Just about hang you in there. That commitment is what we want to see. So now we are going to get ourselves locked and loaded, ready for the second race of the evening. How is this one going to unfold, I wonder? There is almost an infinite amount of possibilities that could come off. What is sure to be a manic sprint race. Have no idea why this track was on the calendar, and oh dear, I think you're seeing what I'm seeing, James. We may well be having a lobby glitch here.
We might as well, yeah, we are having a lobby glitch, I think, out on track, which is a real shame. Staffen obviously glitching the timing screens too much. We're going to have to do a new lobby, I think. And I think everyone is in the same boat as we currently are. Hopefully, we might just have somebody lead the session and then we can get back going again. But, yeah, this is not great.
Not great in the slightest, James. So we'll keep posted, but I suspect drivers are going to start leaving, and then probably a new lobby is going to have to be set up, unfortunately. So yeah, it's just I recommend you guys just stay patient here. This could be a rather long and grueling process, such as what Codemaster servers demand of us commentators and the drivers as well. Very unfortunately. I guess we're going to have to try and fill the time, James, assuming this race is not going to go ahead immediately. And so that race hasn't actually shaken up the championship a great deal, because if you look at that, then Toxic he had his second worst result of the season as Zauna's jumped out the lobby. He's probably going to be making a new one, I suspect. And we hit our all-time high for viewers tonight as we have lobby issues, typical, I say. But what do you reckon? Because Verstappen will have chopped into that lead, but only very, very slightly. So Toxic, that must be very encouraging for him. If he can have a slightly below par race, a slightly chaotic race, and still maintain his championship lead, he must be going into the second half of the season with the utmost highest level of confidence.
He will have a lot of confidence within him, certainly. Larkin, of course, think finished behind Verstappen. Verstappen, of course, now second. Rocco crashed out of that race as well. So that means Larkin is third in the standings. Lando all the way down, of course, didn't even finish the race. But Toxic, the man to beat. He is a three-time League of Europe Formula 2 champion already. Can he make it a fourth time this season? Am I wishful thinking too much? I hope not.
Well, I think you're wishful thinking saying that he's a three-time champion. He's only a two-time champion. Just
He's a three-time champion.
Is he?
Yes, he is. Division Season 2, Season 3, Season 4. I had a look on the website, leagueofeurope.com.
This is Season 4.
Season 4? Hang on, I'm confused. Let me have a look at this. We need to provide facts for you guys. No fake news here like Donald Trump likes to do. Have a look. Hang on.
Oh,
standings. Season 1. Yeah, you're right. He is a two-time champ. I'm thinking he's a three-time champ because I read Season 4, and this is Season 4. I'm an absolute thick man.
Well, there's a good chance in about 6 weeks' time you probably will be a three-time champion. We are now having people leaving the session, so we'll get something new set up for you guys. In the meantime, I've just been let know we are restarting. I've just got an invite to a lobby by Zainama. You might blue screen for a second, guys, but just as we get ourselves loaded back in, and we can get things underway pretty shortly. I wonder what they're going to do with the format though, because it's not very easy restarting an F2 lobby, because you're naturally going to have a two race format, and you can't do a feature, you can't do a sprint race without a feature race. So I wonder what they're going to do, but we may well have to just run through almost something of a dummy race. I think what we're going to do
25%.
Based on the lobby settings, we're going to have to do a 25%, which I believe is a shorter race. So our sprint race may well be cut down. We're just going to have a custom grid here.
Yeah, we will have a custom grid. 25% looks like to be the setting, so we have got a backup plan in order. You can go and grab yourself a cup of tea while this custom grid gets formatted, I think, out on track, and it's going to be probably about a 4 or 5 minute delay. But sit tight, because Mike's not streaming. Of course, you're tuning into Division 1 tonight as opposed to Division 2 if you are just tuning in. I'm wondering where. B. Morgan coming in the chat saying, imagine not being F2 champ. Yeah, I had a look on Season 1 and saw your name, and I easily corrected myself there, so I apologise.
Well, I suppose that kind of argument over facts is what the stream comes to when we're having a bit of a downtime here. What else can we find to talk about? Maybe we haven't really mentioned the Teams Championship, the Constructor Standings, so far. So going into this round, Univirtuosi had a pretty solid lead over High Tech, and as it stands, they look like they're set to extend that lead because of Campbell's great showing so far. High Tech, of course, with that Verstappen Chill lineup, and they didn't rack up as many points for either driver as they probably should have done. So Univirtuosi have a decent lead then, and if Campbell continues that upturn in form, if Toxic keeps being toxic, do you suspect that Univirtuosi will just run away with the Team's Championship this season?
Honestly, it's looking that way, to be honest. Even at this stage in the season, it's looking like Univirtuosi are going to try and get to the top of the standings. They're already on the top of the standings, 221 points, of course, coming into tonight. High-Tech in second on 176. But it's going to be fascinating to see the response from both Chill and Verstappen. They've got one really good driver, I think, in Verstappen, and then one less consistent driver in Chill. Both of them QVR. I don't insult them at all whatsoever. Just think that's the case here in Formula 2. Racelab in third on 164 as well. They're not entirely out of it. They've got a very strong team, Larkin, of course, leading up to that. But Univirtuosi is just absolutely flying away out in front. 2-2-1 coming into tonight, as I say. With Campbell, with Toxic already getting toward the top end of the field, it's going to be fascinating to see. But the custom grid is being done. I'm sure we are just moments away from racing.
Yes, just a big shout out to Zonema for getting everything sorted out. He does a great job with organising this D1 side of F2. He's organised F2 pretty much since the start. And also give a quick word to Jordan as well, who covers the Division 2 side of things. Unfortunately, I do believe Division 2 still doesn't have a stream up because I believe Mike has dropped off the face of the earth in the last hour or so, as it seems. So we do apologise for that, but you can have a look at the coverage here in Division 1 at least. Our viewing numbers have been down on Division 2 most of the way throughout the season, so it's good that we can maybe get one over on those guys this time around. So of course a Monaco race, 25%, which I think we're going to get 11 laps, I want to say, is going to be the race distance. You'd assume going forward into a de facto sprint race. And I imagine what we're going to do is that all the drivers are going to be forced into starting on the soft tyres then, which is coincidentally the harder set of tyres that we have on offer today. Since of course otherwise it's just going to get a little bit untidy and inconsistent to what we'd usually see. So everyone, I think, is going to go for those harder set of tyres, and then we can just run forward as it is. Pole position, I actually need to double check that. Who's going to be on pole for this sprint race when we do get it underway? Just going to have a little check now. It's going to be a little bit of arithmetic because of Verstappen dropping off the face of the earth, but I think it's going to be XL Gary starting up the front of the grid with Noon alongside him. So XL drivers starting up the front, as we so often to see, their contingency is so strong here in Formula 2. We'll see how that goes. But XL Gary, who, dare I say it, hasn't really had much of a chance to shine throughout this season. In fact, he's just getting himself kicked off in Formula 2. And he had a decent enough showing last time out, and now he's got a really good chance with pole position at a track like Monaco. We saw Campbell convert it. Maybe Gary could do the same. We'll see. It's a shorter race, less time to lose out. And if he keeps it between the walls, like so Gary could get his F2 career for this season at least kicked off in fantastic fashion.
Normally I say around Monaco, pole position will win the race. That's what we saw with Campbell. That's what we might see with Gary, I think, in the sprint race as well. It's going to be really interesting to see how he is going to get on. And only his second race this season, of course, he has been in the past. Certainly when I was covering the F2, he was around then. And he's good to see him back in the dams. Hopefully we'll have an Irish winner of the Monaco Grand Prix. We are just getting ready up. It seems you, my friend, need to select spectator mode unless you're going to be driving out on track.
Thank you very much for pointing that out there. Yes, believe
me, we don't want that.
Oh,
we don't want another bottle job going around out on track.
Oh, hey, listen. You can't bottle anything if there's nothing to bottle. That's my mentality. That's what I carry forward through season 3 and 4 of Division 1 racing. But yes, especially with a pad, you definitely wouldn't have wanted to see me out there on the road. No doubt about that. But it means now that I'm back now in probably my rightful place. I don't think I have any place on track these days, and so we can just cover the action that these guys are going to muster up for us. I don't think we're getting ready just yet. It is quite a tiresome process setting up a custom grid. So as Enema, I imagine, is just going to be working his socks off, making sure everything is sorted, and so we can get back to racing. But we may well be a little while. We've got 18 drivers yet again, so attendance has actually been, I imagine, pretty strong so far. Yeah, I guess that's done pretty well for Formula 2. We'll see how this is going to go. We have 19 drivers in the lobby now. Sophia's just got in, and I think that's going to be everyone for tonight. So we should get going relatively soon, and a race that could shake things up potentially in the championship because those XL guys starting up the front. I wonder how that race is going to go because obviously Gary on pole position, but there's some very quick drivers behind, as always, chasing him down. But he's probably got a better chance than any other person that started on pole in sprint races because of the simple fact that it's Monaco, and if you keep it clean, your chances of being overtaken are pretty slim. We'll see if we can hold on to it though, because there's still going to be some threats behind.
There is going to be threats behind, of course, and you never know, Campbell, Verstappen and the likes might come through the field as well. You just don't know with Monaco. That rhymed a bit, and we're about to get going here in Monaco for the sprint race. And it's going to be 19 drivers, of course, doing battle around out on track. And hopefully we're going to be seeing, I think, as you say, it's going to be about 11 or 12 laps, I think, this race around Monaco. So it's going to be short, it's going to be sharp, it's going to be nippy. It's going to be like these cars around this track, I think, and we're about to get going very soon indeed.
So now we load into the action. Let's get started then, of course. No qualifying, no chance of warming up. These drivers will be out of the rhythm. They've got to try to get themselves snapped back into it before we get things back going again. So now we load in. You can see the beautiful scenery of Monaco in the harbour. And now we're going to get loaded in to the event. One race, no second chances. We've already had the order shaken up from the proceedings of I can't get my words out here. The race that we just saw about 5 minutes ago. That's all I needed to say. As now we barrel into it. We're going to see if there's going to be any differentiation in terms of the tyre choices, because it is quite a low deck circuit. But I imagine the soft tyre will still be the way to go. Night setting, as we've become accustomed to it in the last few F1 games at Monaco. Track looks absolutely stunning at night underneath the lights. So just seconds away from getting into it. We'll see our custom grid with, of course, the top 8 being reversed for the sprint race. We're just seconds out then. Everyone getting our last strategies sorted out. Won't be much strategy though. No pit stops unless you crash it. It is just going to be flat out to the line. You can see that the Dams car of XL Gary up the front of the grid. He's got some drivers protecting him, everyone on the softs, and the question is now, is he going to hold on to it? One formation lap, and then we get action kicked off for the final time tonight. Who's going to come out on top in this final race of the evening there? It's a sprint race, and it is going to be 11 laps in length. So we'll see who's going to cross the line after those 11 laps, victorious after what should be, I imagine, a chaotic race. And Gary, that's not a good sign, climbing the wall already on the formation lap there.
Let's hope he doesn't do that for the real time, running up towards turn 3 at Massenet. Once again, it's going to be so fascinating, I think, to see how this track is really going to unfold. Gary out on top, Noonan second, Miami in third. Have you ever seen an XL 1-2-3 before out on track? Who knows? Let's see how this is going to unfold, of course. Toxic Matthias, Verstappen, Speedcrown and Campbell. The top 8, of course, reversed from the sprint race, as Dan has said. Looking further down the field, though, Zerdimer has got a good chance, I think, from 13th on the grid, trying to make his way up the field. Watch out for Rocco. If he tries to go 3 wide around the outside of turn 1 here, like he did in Singapore in the sprint race last week, then, my God, I may as well just give him a medal, to be honest, if he wants to try and attempt that. Attempting it is one thing. Trying to get it done around here is another thing. But Gary out on top, Noonan second, and Miami in third. And I will shut up to run it because I know Dan is inevitably thinking he's going to turn the tables on me, so I may as well let him do
yes, well, you know me too well there, James. With Gary at the front of the field and with an XL 1-2-3, but with some big championship headers in behind. Coming to you before the start of the race, I'll hand over to you for good. Because, of course, you're accustomed to taking us to the start of these sprint races. What is your top 3 for what will surely be a chaotic 11 laps here at Monaco?
Gary, Noon, Miami. That's my top 3.
I see what you did there. Let's get into it.
It's Monaco, goodness me. Jill rejoining on at the back of the field and ready to get going for 11 laps. 11 laps that could turn into an absolute massacre out on track. I say that quite literally because we don't know what is going to unfold out on track. The 5 red lights, though, are hopefully about to go out. There they come on, and Gary will lead us off the line. 5 red lights are now out in the sprint race. Long hold, but it's lights down, away we go. Noon gets a better start than Gary off the line, and Noon's already going to get Gary off the line. So is Miami as well. And the XL man from pole position is now down to third. Noon leads the way then up the hill for the first time with Miami in second. Gary in third. Sofian picked up a 2-second time penalty through collision with Larkin. Of course, 3 seconds normally. 2-second time penalty still there for Sofian in 13th. But Noon leading the way up the hill for the first time. Miami in second. Gary down to third. Zerdem fourth. Lando fifth. And Larkin in sixth. I'm dreaming there. There's an XL 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it's not. And then it's Toxic, I think. That has gone into the back of Verstappen. What was that?
Oh wait, oh no, I saw Josh going off then at Casino. What a manic start here! As yeah, I'm seeing some jostling further down the field there. Lando and Larkin are experiencing some rather unfortunate scenes out there on the track. We got away from that. But yes, there we are then, leaving the line. And did you see Toxic there into the back of Verstappen? He is in front of the high tech. So what actually happened down there, James? I didn't get a great view.
I think it was Verstappen actually into the back of Toxic. I apologise. I think it was Verstappen behind Toxic. It was so difficult with the graphics glitching on the left-hand side. I couldn't know who was in what position, to be honest. Campbell is through all the way down into 18th position now. Campbell from 8th in the grid. He is really struggling. But now Toxic tries to go around the outside of Gary. Gary trying to look at Miami. But it is noon. It's midnight here in Monaco. And he leads the way by a good, I would say, second and a half at least. Coming across the line, it's 1.2 seconds. Miami in second, Gary third, Toxic fourth, Verstappen fifth, Matthias sixth, then Hardy seventh, Sweet Crowd in eighth, Safina ninth, then Zerdema in 10th, very deep on the brakes down into Sandoval with Tinkan 11. Josh is retired coming into pit lane, and Campbell, who got caught up in that damage as well, he is also into the pit lane to repair his front wing and to go on for a fresh set of softs.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate there for Campbell after that brilliant feature race victory. That's the nature of racing here at Monaco if you're stuck in that midfield. But look at Noonan then. He shot off the line, got away brilliantly, and now the Carlin driver is stretching his legs, and Miami doesn't seem to be able to live with him on pace. And so it all comes down to the pack behind. Gary, who was got a absolutely woeful start off the lane, is trying to come back as they head now down to no Welsh Kane. Looks at the inside line. No. Will not quite go through with that. He's going to take his time with this one. He's driving Dan Tixon's car. He's not driving like Dan Tixon, being very, very patient out there, but still Toxic MML. I'm sorry, I had to get that dig in there. But Toxic still sitting in firmly in that third place there. Verstappen looks like he's struggling to live with it at the moment. And he did run into the back of Toxic, as you mentioned. It's Toxic. Look at the inside line into Razkas. That one is not quite going to come to fruition. Look at these three. They are absolutely nose to tail. Coming off Anthony Noget going now on to the third lap. And Noon is comprehensively quicker than the rest of the field at the moment. He is pulling clear at the front of the race. And as it stands right now, it's going to be difficult for anyone else to follow through. Toxic hounded Gary, but he's too far away, going into his prime hunting ground at Massey. He has to sit it behind. Toxic does have some strong pace here, but overtaking even for him is going to be difficult. He gets right up towards it to Mervo, diving down the inside of Toxic, and he runs into Miami. There's contact between him and Toxic. Is surely have to let that through, but Gary's got nowhere to go, and Gary is going to get the pair of them down there. So Toxic, I think he tried to. Yeah, it's Verstappen. Sorry, he's gone up into that third position. So Verstappen taking full advantage. I think what happened there, Toxic went for that lunge. He knew it was too ambitious. He tried to let Gary through, but Gary had nowhere to go but into the back of him. Verstappen had the right move, the right place on the track, took that position, and now he's up in a third place in front of Toxic. Verstappen up for a double podium as it stands, but now continuing to stretch away. 2.5 seconds now clear at the front.
Yeah, really impressive from Noon. I think Toxic had just let Miami through, and then it became a bit of a parking lot coming through Mirabel, I think, and that's what happened with Verstappen getting the seam down on the inside, getting both of them done for third position. Lando has picked up a 2-second time penalty out on track. On just your screens, that is a 2-second time penalty that is being picked up for the guys out on track, but Noon absolutely dominating the phase out, and from 1 to lap 4, Miami in second, Verstappen in third. Sofian has lost the position to Zerdema, and now he's going to be under pressure from Tinkan, and Tinkan is through. He's into 10th position, running down in towards turn 1. I think Sofian got wide coming out of Anthony Noches, and now he's down to 11th as Matthias is looking on Gary for 5th.
Yeah, Matthias looking very strong yet again. He's had a good night here at Monaco, but Gary holding him at bay for the moment. Then Gary, of course, was definitely the main loss out, as Toxic goes to the back of Verstappen this time. I think he's got away with it, but another tap then. Toxic's really been in the wars tonight then. He's not quite at his usual pace around here, and you can see he's been trying to compensate there. He's been making some aggressive moves out there on the road. but they have worked at times, but at other times they have worked against him. Now, Nunes lost a bit of time on this lap. Miami's really good, and who's going off there? Lando going again, and what a nightmare of an ending he's had into the tunnel section. What a night to forget for Lando. That's going to be his second consecutive non-point scoring finish. His championship chances now look almost out of reach. Now his Toxic picks up a penalty, and now he's going to be losing out not as much as usual as Lando gets a penalty. I think he's just all but giving up on this race tonight.
Yeah, it's totally cut the chicane there out on track. So unfortunately, he got a really good exit actually, but he just powered out coming through Portier and spun the car into the wall. He's got no front wing sadly now, and that's what happened to him. Brit, sadly, his championship hopes I think are now completely and utterly dashed. There's a yellow flag in sector 3, and that is Lando who's crashed into Raskas. Just coming out of Raskas into the pit lane, and Noon will lead the way for Miami in second. Verstappen in third. Verstappen hound in the back of Miami, and he'll be looking to try and get this move done. Speaking of trying to get a move done, Matthias on the back of Gary as well, running down towards the Grand Hotel hairpin for the 5th time. Pretty much halfway through the race now at this point. It is Noon who leads. Miami second, Verstappen third, Toxic in fourth. Campbell now fresh out the pit lane in 17th position. Lando now all the way down into 18th position. Looking at the position losses as well, Sweet Crown has lost 1 position from the start. Gary has lost 4. Campbell's lost 9 in total. But Gary is the chief loser out of that because of the incident that he had with Toxic. Now Matthias joined onto the fray. 5-way battle for second, possibly developing as there's a yellow flag in sector 3. And that's Lando crashing into the wall at turn 1, I think.
Yeah, it's just, that's so unfortunate for Lando. Having had such a promising start to the season, it is all beginning to fall away from him now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to call it a day here, as he's clearly not going to end this with any points. Up at the front, Noon still leads away emphatically, and now Toxic, I think he's now let Gary through, he's made a mistake, so through goes Gary, up in a 4th place out of the dams, and Toxic and Mamel has had to give up that place. He's going to try and fight back. He has a penalty though, so he needs to maximise it just like he did in that feature race, but he's not near enough. He cannot draw near enough, and now further back then, Hardy and Sweet Crown are battling now. Sweet Crown round the outside of Massey, surely no, he gets run out of road then, just about. But Hardy seems to be struggling out there, and now behind Zerma right there with him, but he's not going to dive it down the inside. I think there's that Nolan further back that's lost a couple of possessions. Yeah. Oh, it's Rocco clips the wall, Casino into the wall. That's another car out. Rocco's had a disaster as well this evening after such a good round in Singapore. He is as well going to go pointless in. Miserable for Rocco, miserable for Lando tonight. Night to forget for those guys, but a night to remember so far for XL Noon. 2.5 seconds ahead. I don't think he's even pushing to his limit. He's just in control of this race, and at the moment no one could get near him.
Slow but steady wins the race, and it's as simple as that. Consistency wins the race as well. Here at Monaco, and Noon is 2.8 seconds out in front compared to Miami in behind. Rocco, by the way, just spun the car. I think Nolan had picked up damage and all of that as well. And Nolan, in fact, has gone careening across into Dylan. Not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch that.
Oh,
but
Lando's side.
Oh, is that?
Lando's sideways on, running down in towards Mirabo.
My oh my, what chaos here in this sprint race. The drivers having incident galore out there on the road, and still this battle over second place rages on. Miami has done a great job of repelling all the attacks from behind, and as it stands right now, he's ending this evening with a 5th place and a 2nd place. Of course, it can all change, but given that he's not quite had the outright speed tonight, he's done a great job of maximising the opportunities that has been given to him in typical Miami fashion. He's at the moment on for 2nd place, but still has Verstappen reining him in. Can Verstappen see through a battle for 2nd place this time? He has got Gary, Toxic and Matthias all within range and looking to try and get through. Gary, given the poor start he had to this race, and given the bad luck he has actually got some really strong race pace here, and he's not out of contention for 2nd place. It's going to be very difficult for him to get through, but he's caught up to Miami, he's caught up to Verstappen. The question is now, can he get these moves done against 2 very high quality drivers? Gary having a great debut here. What are you seeing further back there? No one's gone off.
Dylan was down the inside of Portier on Nolan. That's what that was, and Nolan gets back through, and he's into 14th going through the tunnel section. Absolutely unreal. And now Dylan will try and lock, but Nolan is through. Brilliant stuff around the outside of the tunnel section, albeit. And he's through, and he's into 14th position. He really did not see that. They've got Rocco and Campbell catching as well.
Yeah, it's all bunching up, and then look at the front wing damage of Nolan though. He has to slow down to a crawl going through the swimming pool section. Campbell does get past Rocco there, nips through, and he's trying to get back with whatever he has in this race. Further down the field, Sweet Crown Hardy's hitting the wall. Hardy's hitting the wall. Going down there at Massey, and now Sweet Crown, now wait there with him. Is ghosting between them. And Sweet Crown holding back for the move. Hardy is going to be holding back surely now. This is all allowing that pack ahead to break well clear. But Hardy, definite damage on that car now. And surely Sweet Crown can just try to get through. But he's going to have to be careful through the high speed section of the track. Because we saw there with Nolan, it holds you back to such a great extent. As now Verstappen in Miami does action all over teams. I don't know where to look.
Campbell's just gone around the outside of Dylan and Nolan, coming through Casino Square.
What?
I have just seen that, late, albeit to the party, but Campbell has just gone around the outside of Dylan at least, and of Nolan, and he's up into 14th position. 2 for the price of 1, he's turning up to 14th. That, unfortunately, was covered by the trees slightly, but, my God, what a move that was. The Tin Can is round.
Tin Can dropping it there. I think he's just hitting that inside wall there at Razkas, and now is well back in this race. Chill and Safed. Safed dives to the pit lane then. He's going to maybe try and go for fastest lap. As now Sweet Crown finally gets up alongside Hardy. Can he get through a Revenge? They're going to go into Mass, and he almost side by side, and Zerma nearly hits him as well. Hardy out wide, and now Zerma coming to the inside line. Now he's round the outside of Casino. Zerma follows through. Great stuff. And then Matthias has gone past on Toxic. Toxic dropping back then. Matthias just got a penalty. Looked like losing out. But now Toxic's lost out, and Toxic's got damage, James.
Yep, left side end plate damage. Look on the camera. There he is. Left side end plate damage now for Toxic. So obviously he's hit the wall somewhere out on track. That's why Matthias has gone through. I wonder if he's being too committed on the brakes down and towards Mirabo, and he's gone careering off into the wall, and Matthias got through and nipped up the inside.
My oh my. Toxic having a difficult evening there. Look at Matthias, he's right there with Verstappen, who is struggling in this race. I wonder if Verstappen's got very minor damage because his pace looked above everyone behind him at the moment. As now they're going to go almost side by side into the swimming pool behind him. And then Sweet Crown holds it round the outside. But these guys are going to war out there, and somehow they are still pointing in the correct direction as it stands. We're over the line. We have 2 laps to go. Miami's reeling in Noon as it stands, but I think it's going to be too little too late. Noon is in control of this one. Look behind, there's Larkin now chasing down XL Hardy, but the move's not quite going to come through as their Campbell's got a penalty. Further back, Nolan has gone off, going through the Nobel chicane. A nightmare race for Nolan as it stands there. It's been such a difficult evening for so many of our drivers out there. Look at Matthew Foy's down the inside of Verstappen late move. Verstappen's not giving him too much space, and they're going to go into the Grand Hotel parapet with nothing between them. Surely not side by side through here. Verstappen on the short run. Matt round the outside into Mirabo too. They're still going at it. Now the Portier. Matt gets a move done, and that around Monaco is absolutely sensational. Now Toxic trying to follow through. He has Verstappen right in his sights, looking towards the inside line, doesn't get through, but Matt, my oh my, he put a tough move on Verstappen. Verstappen was equal to it. They went battling throughout that middle sector. I've only ever seen that sequence once before in league racing, and it was done by yours truly. So Matt, following through off the greatest, now up into 4th place. He's got to try and bridge that gap to Verstappen, because Verstappen's really struggling. But in this train, you suspect not much can happen. No, Verstappen's from wide though, going through Razkas, and now Toxic looking towards the inside line. We saw Toxic put a move last race on XL Noon, who still leads the way. Miami's still reeling him in, but I think it's going to be too little too late. Can Toxic put a late one here? On, give you a stab, and look at Matthias, what a charge to the back half of this race. He's looking at Gary now, goes left and then right into Masterdays. Nolan out the session now, but look at Matthew Boy has absolutely come alive as now Rocco's out. Nolan, I'm not sure what's going on there further back down the field. We got some fight at Dallin. I don't know where to look at this point there, James. Sweet Crown and Zernoa are still battling for the down the field. This battle for second rages on, but as it stands now, just in control, as long as he doesn't get a penalty, he has this race sewn off. He's led it from turn 1 to the finish. What a brilliant drive from Noon. He's had a really handy sum of points here tonight.
Yeah, he really has, and he's a tenth of a second and a half even clear. Now Matthias are going to try and nudge it down the inside into the Novell chicane. He's very late on the brakes, but not quite coming in enough. Dylan is round, coming through Anthony Norches, but
not here.
Matthias is not going to go around the inside into back, is he? No, he's not. Noon hanging on for absolute grim life out and from Miami in second. Gary third, Matthias in fourth. Nolan and Rocco, by the way, I think Crash coming through the tunnel section out on track, so an absolute disaster for them. Really hope they didn't come into contact through that section, but now Noon around the final corner. It's midnight out on track, but it is noon hour here in Monaco. Noon wins for Miami in second, Gary in third, and look at a flash across the line. Verstappen picked up fourth, Matthias in the end fifth, Toxic was picking up a penalty in sixth, Sweetpan Zerdimer across the line, then it's Larkin in ninth. He'll be happy with that result, I think, given that race. Hardy in 10th with damage, then Tin Can 11th with damage. Chill ran the final corner. He needs to put himself in the freezer, I think, after that one in 11th. Terrible. Campbell with the left side and plate damage ran the final corner. Oh, and he nearly crashes coming through the final corner. He's just having a bit of fun now. Right side and plate damage on the car. And Campbell lost the line in 13th.
Can you flick to Lando for a second?
He's on wet.
Yes, he is on wet.
He is on wet. I don't blame him. He's well at this race. I don't blame him at all. Sofian across the line in 14th, and now we have to wait on Mando, don't we, to finish in 15th. There is a massive car park, by the way, running through into the Grand Hotel hairpin because Larkin's AI has spun out on track.
Oh my!
Which is very funny.
Exo Lando up to the line. Exo Lando to the line. Do you think he's going to get fastest lap here? He's now cruising through,
look at that.
And there we are, crossing. Evening to forget for Exo Lando, whose championship chances have taken a massive hit here tonight in what was a manic race. Chill somehow gets driver of the day from the in-game fans. Pegging driver of the day, by the way, is going to be quite a task. I agree with you, how? But there it is. That is going to be at the noon, and fantastic driving there, out there on the circuit. He wraps up the race victory. Second place will go to Miami in the end, joining him up on that podium, and then Gary in third position. So in the end, I think you got the top three just about right. Maybe not in the right order, but it just shows the way Monaco races. Even though these guys were under tremendous pressure throughout the entire race, they ended up finishing in that 1, 2, 3 order. Then Noon wins it from Miami second, Gary third, Verstappen, all things considered, had a solid evening. He gets fourth in that sprint race from Matthias. Fifth, Toxic in sixth place there. He had a scrappy race just then. Street Crown in seventh, had a decent enough evening as well. Zonema in eighth from Larkin and Hardy rounding out the top 10. Behind that is Chill, Tin Can, Campbell. Contrasting fortunes from his two races. Sofian in 14th, quiet debut. Dylan and Lando round out the finishers, and then the drivers that didn't see out the checkered flag, Rocco, Nolan and Josh. That is going to be it for a rather odd night of racing. I think that's what we could say. I don't think we expected anything else then. Brilliant drives by Noon and by Campbell and Noon in the feature and sprint race respectively. Besides that though, it was just classic Monaco. Lot of incident, lot of chaos, and in the end a very mixed up sequence of events then, and some very mixed up results as well.
I did warn everyone that I was going to be a massacre in the sprint race, and then look what happened. And then look what happened as well when I said Gary would win. Down in towards turn 1, he's in third. Terrible.
Oh wow.
I'm gutted.
There's I don't think there's really much to ponder about. The next round comes to you from Spa, which is gonna be a fascinating one then, because Spa threw up some fabulous racing throughout last season, and so I'm hoping we're gonna get more of the same when we get to that. I think both us and the drivers are going to be wanting to put that behind. Again, I would not dare say a bad word about any of the organisers, but Monaco on the calendar, rather baffling, and I think it turned out exactly as we predicted. Just league racing drivers aren't, simply put, they aren't as good as the real life drivers who can keep it between the barriers all the time. We're a bit more human than that, so unfortunately, league races at Monaco don't often turn out well. But Spa should be a much more action-packed affair. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, Spa I think is going to be fantastic in terms of the on-track action out on track, and hopefully it's going to bring to life what is all good about the League of Europe Formula 2s. Didn't really see it here in Monaco. It is Monaco at the end of the day, but back to Spa next week. And did you know that Spa is the longest track on the calendar, 7 kilometers in length?
Yes, I did know that actually. I think most people would, but anyway.
That one person that's watching the stream now didn't, and now knows that fact.
Well,
Yeah, you're
yes,
welcome.
they can. Thank you very much for that. But I think that is pretty much going to be it. In fact, we'll run through a few more things. Just coming to you quickly, James. I'm going to ask you a rather difficult question, although you not you for very different reasons as to why it's usually difficult. Who's your driver of the day for today?
Driver of the day today, honestly, for me, would be Verstappen. I think Verstappen's been very consistent tonight. He drove really good race in the feature race, drove an excellent race as well in the sprint race, getting caught in that fight towards the end with Toxic and the likes. And overall, consistency is the key, and I think he gets my driver of the day.
Yeah, I think I could definitely see that. I think it's either him. I would be. Well, I would also argue Noon as well, who had again a very solid showing in the feature race and a brilliant showing throughout the sprint race. So I'd certainly put those two names forward. Campbell, of course, probably not much he could have done as well. He showed why he's the master of Monaco, but just got unlucky, I believe, in that sprint race, as can happen at Monaco. Although I suspect we're going to see a return to more traditional racing next time out in Belgium. But of course, Formula 2 is far from the only thing that we have on at League of Europe. Every Saturday, of course, we run our Formula 1 league. Stay tuned for that, of course, at 6:40 UK time, Division 1, Division 3 and Division 4. And of course at 8:10 UK time, you're going to see Division 2, the division to watch, I think, and Division 5 as well, racing at that time. But I think that's going to be pretty much it for tonight. If James, do you have any final words?
Assetto Corsa as well, that League of Europe does. Assetto Corsa, of course, that's on a Friday night. You can go and watch that.
And we also run a PC League. LOE has got quite a lot going on at the moment. PC League, I believe, is also Friday nights at 8 p.m. That's a rather busy time for us then. But I think that is going to be it then for the fifth round of the season here at Monaco. Rather unique picture of racing, as we've come to expect from this circuit. And we'll see some more traditional action next time out at Spa. So keep an eye out for that. As always, please stay safe, stick to guidelines. Make sure we can all work together. We can get through this pandemic as one, as a human race. But for all the action on and off the track tonight, that is going to be it. So, I have been Daniel Hogarth. He's been James Head. And until next time, we'll see you later.